takes a lot to write a book. I have been putting off writing my book for well over a year now. Shake it up, shake it off. It's a stinker. All right. I actually had started and then I lost everything, which was devastating. So then I started over writing my book again. And a couple of weeks ago, I reached out to the publisher. I love working with her. We've done, gosh, I think we maybe have published 7 books so far. So yeah, there's a stack of some of my stuff. This is like a survivor's curriculum to help people with coping skills and things like that. And then this one is the winter feminine guided journal. Here's the fall version. This is Refresh, which is a book that I wrote to basically help anyone with personal growth that wants to, you know, tend to every aspect of their life to make sure that they're living abundantly. So that's just a few of the things I've written. But it's different when it's your story. And that's where I kept getting stuck, is like not knowing how to tell my story or feeling like it feels weird to talk about yourself. I don't know, it's just been a challenge and I keep procrastinating, and I'm not that way. I don't procrastinate on things. I get things done and I love accomplishing. Being stuck as long as I was, I reached out to the publisher. I had a great phone call last week.
Like to get together and brainstorm and plan what part, like a story that starts when I was young and goes in linear order
Yes.
until today is boring beyond all
Yes,
reason.
yes.
So usually it's better if it's been planned. If we sit down and plan like
Love
the
that.
highlight reel, and then we decide what's going to be the flashbacks, what's going to
Okay.
be the foreshadowing, what's going to be, and kind of write it that way.
Love
that,
it.
That actually is probably going to be less work than trying to take things that you wrote years ago and make it fit.
Yeah,
into
love that.
a
Okay.
cohesive, especially
Perfect.
like when it comes to memoirs, I think of them as though they were screenplays, right? So we're going to pay attention to the setting, the smells, the sounds, what you see, what the atmosphere was like, what you tasted, what your fear was, what you're
Yes.
writing in dialogue. Like when I write it, like it's a person eavesdropping, that kind of thing. And sometimes that's kind of difficult to take somebody's stuff that they were trying to put together. Like that's actually maybe more work for me than like. No,
Perfect.
Once we have this outline that this is what we're going to do, usually what I do is I interview and we just talk through the chat. I ask, you know, like I'll prepare in advance and I'll have questions ready for you.
Okay.
And I'll just ask you the questions and you just tell me your story. I capture it all, I record it all, and then I write it and send it back to you, and you can kind of get in there and
Love
then
it.
judge it.
This is so, like, I can't even tell you how this feels in comparison to the dread that I felt every time I sat down and tried to write it myself.
Yeah.
I love to write things to help other people with whatever they're dealing with, but when I don't know, trying to write my story.
It's hard. There's something
It's
that
different.
almoys feels, whether it's religion or whatever it is, it's hard to talk about ourselves.
It is.
It's hard to promote ourselves. Like I can promote everyone else on the
Yes.
whole planet. Full marketing plan, all your best things. But when I have to do it for myself, it's like, it feels like self-aggrandizing. It feels self-serving. It's very hard to do. So it is
all that's
difficult.
true.
It's difficult. But remember, we're going to do this. We know we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and
Yes.
the word of our testimony. So we are not, that's the difference between like a memoir and something that pierces the heavens, shreds the atmosphere, and healing, deliverance, and salvation comes, because we're going to apply the blood of the Lamb to your testimony.
I love it.
And there's no word that's not going to be covered in the blood of the Lamb.
This makes me so happy and excited, Wendy. And that's really, I was thinking this morning, I was journaling. It's like, what do I want? What would be a win with this book? And for me, it's truly that story of there was nothing about me that was anything other than an ordinary girl from Martin's Mill that doesn't even have a population sign. And yet I have been able to see extraordinary things in my life because of just overcoming that fear and putting my little hand in God's and letting him take me on this adventure. And I didn't know that every part of this journey with him has been restoration and redemption for my own story. She basically walked me through the whole process of how we could get my story captured. And after talking to her, it just feels so easy and doable. I am not intimidated anymore to get started on this project. I'm ready to run with it. So I'm obviously new to all of this when it comes to writing a book like this. And the process is quite a few steps, but I don't think any of them are particularly difficult. I just think it's knowing the order to do each of the steps in is probably helpful for someone else that may be wanting to also write a book. So first you want to get your cover design and then your interior design templates. You're going to assign the ISBN, which when I've purchased the ISBNs before, you just purchase them in a block. And so you purchase, I think maybe like 10 at a time. And then you apply for the Library of Congress control number and get the copyright handled. And then it's really setting up the flow of your manuscript. So you want to just make sure that that feels good, and you may have other people read it to see how the flow feels to them, if it's easy to follow. And then make any changes, get it proofread by a professional proofreader, because that's going to drive you nuts. At least it would me if there was some sort of grammatical error in my final book. So then you're going to create your advanced reader copy so that you can send a few of those out to maybe get a forward or some endorsements from, people that want to support you. And then you're going to create your print proof draft with the cover and the interior. Once that is done, then I want you to have like the biggest launch team training and planning so that you can have a huge celebration. So get that team together, whoever needs to help you in the launch process. You'll get all of the formats uploaded to their appropriate platforms if you're going to do a paperback or hardback. And then with Kindle, they have the Kindle Direct Publishing, and that's what I've used for all of mine. And then there's also Ingram Spark, which I have an account with them as well, so that you can print copies at a much less expensive price than having to buy your own books at full price. Get ready for your campaign and your social media graphics. That's where you want to be able to really, get the word out to the masses. So that needs to be something that you spend quite a bit of time preparing for. Today, I am reading through all of the contracts that I'll be signing with her, and just going through all of the, the fine print to make sure I understand the process. And then I'll sign these contracts and get them over to her, and we'll start our meetings. So it'll be a 4-hour, kind of like a big whiteboard time where we'll start mapping out and outlining the story so that she has the framework, and I can kind of give her enough to get started with. And then we'll meet on a monthly basis after that, which is so awesome. It's just so exciting. I think I'm just more excited than anything because I've been stuck for so long on writing this book, and I feel like now it doesn't have dread attached to it. It's just like, now I'm just excited. So writing a book is a huge investment of your time and energy. It's a big investment financially. So why would someone go through the effort to do this? I think for me, I've shared a lot of my story through my social media, through even the programs that I've written, groups that I've taken people through. But I think for me, it's just kind of putting the whole story together and sharing, with whoever may choose to read my book, what I believe is just an ordinary person who has had the opportunity to meet extraordinary people, to be a part of extraordinary things. But there was nothing special about me. I just got to say yes to things that kept taking me down a path. And I want my story to encourage other people, inspire other people to just say yes to things that may seem a little risky and out of your comfort zone, but you never know where it may take you. And that's really why I think it's worth the investment, is that I believe that my story is one that can inspire other people to do extraordinary things.